Well, let's speak to Tony Parks now, who's on the line to us from SBS Insurance Services. And, well, Tony Parks, for the insurance industry as a whole, I guess it's been a pretty expensive winter for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, hi Matthew. Yeah, it's been a fairly expensive winter because what we're seeing more and more now is that the climate change is really sort of making a lot of adverse weather for people, from flooding to storms, and a lot of people aren't insured correctly or therefore having to claim on their insurance policies.
Well, let's concentrate on that assertion then that people aren't insured properly. Yeah. What is the reason for that then? Because people will know that there are risks of such things, so are they just cutting corners?
I don't think it's actually the consumer, Matthew. I think even myself, I work in the insurance industry, we all find it overly jargonised, complicated, and we don't really know what we're buying. It's not the same as buying an air ticket where we go online and we know that we want to fly from Norwich to Faro. We sort of really don't get what we're buying. And I think the figures are that about 66.2 million have no insurance whatsoever, and about 25% are underinsured. So it really sort of shows that the consumers either don't see value in it or really don't buy the product right for themselves.
So what is the tip then to make sure you've got the right level of cover and the correct policy for your requirements?
Well, I sort of always link it back to the holiday. We go on holiday now and we all use the internet, and we research where we're going and what the hotel is and whether it's right for our family. And in insurance, we sort of don't do that. So my main tip would be to research what you're buying and really look at, what the product is, whether that's got the right level of cover for yourself, and make sure that, maybe walk around your house and make a list of possessions and really get the right value of insurance for the property you're in.
Now, the problem is, after the last winter, in many areas there have been floods inland, and around the Norfolk coast we had problems with that tidal surge in December. And automatically the insurance companies will say, right, well, this is going to cost us a lot more money, so we're going to put up the premiums. And a lot of people are going to find difficulty with that, aren't they?
They certainly are, because unfortunately a lot of instances occur where we're underinsured or floods are not there. But I think it goes back to that research. A lot of insurance companies have a very different price range on types of risk, and I certainly was chatting to a lady yesterday who found a specific insurance company who insured people in static homes. And that's what your listeners need to do, is really go and research and find a product which is right for where they live, and make sure they understand all the implications of where they live.
And do you think the insurance industry will change over the coming years? Do you think it is becoming more customer focused?
I think the insurance industry is one of the industries which is the slowest to adapt, but there's some companies which are doing some really good things out there at the moment. There's companies which are doing things such as using apps so that the customer can actually process its own claim. They just send an app to them, and you can send in photos of your damaged room, etc. And then there's sort of other companies there which, even in the flooding, sent out sandbags in advance in case of potential floods. So, but the real reality is, I think, going forward, the insurance companies will have to change. More information is available online, and they're trying to get quicker, and they're really trying to make it far easier for the customer, so that they're not getting this sort of chaos when they come to claim.
The perception is, though, and Tony, a lot of people will say this, that, they're very good insurance companies at taking our premiums, but they're not very good at paying out. It's hell and all trouble to get blood from a stone, and that's just like dealing with an insurance company, and you've got that to battle against.
Yeah, I spoke to a guy a couple of days ago who talked about he made a claim, and he had to deal with 7 or 8 different businesses on his claim. The insurer, the loss adjuster, the broker, the builders, the surveyors, the flooring company. That's just not the right level of service. You've bought off your insurance company. They should manage your claim and hold your hand through this painful experience. What I would suggest to listeners is, if they really do their research, they can look online and they'll see the companies which are out there, which are getting good experience off customers, and people are writing good, positive stories about them.
Where can our listeners go for more help and advice? Is there a website?
Yeah, well, there's 2 places I'd suggest they go. I'd certainly say they can either look at ourselves, which is sbs-claims.co.uk, or simply go to the government's website, which is the Money Advice Service, and that gives some really good information on buying financial products such as insurance.
Great to have you on. Tony Parks from SBS, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Cheers, Matthew.